Hey, this is Chip from The Real Dirt. On today's Dirt, I want to talk about branding and developing a company. I talked to my good buddy, John Zolikoff, about his company, Zoko. Now, it's a CBD energy supplement company, but the really reason I wanted to have John on is so he could talk to people about how they develop their brand, their branding strategy, how they develop their customers, how they sell the product, just all the little things that it takes to bring a product to market. Now, many people, cannabis or hemp farmers, all they're interested in is growing lots of ganja, which I'm totally fine with that. But many people realize they need to have some sort of added value product, or they need something more than they can grow or they can produce. And so a branded or a formulated product is the perfect way to do it. If you're interested in hemp, if you're interested in CBD, if you're interested in ganja, this is going to be a great episode. And we literally you can use this format and develop your company kind of based behind it, develop your brand kind of behind it. So sit back and enjoy this next episode of The Real Dirt with Chip Baker and John Zolikoff. Hey, this is Chip from The Real Dirt, and on today's Dirt, I have my good buddy John Zoko come to you live from Sarasota, Florida. Say hello, John.
Hey everyone. Hey Chip. Great to be here.
Oh man, the birds are chirping in the background. I hear your little puppies going on. Oh, it just looks and sounds like an incredible place to be right now. What's going on in Florida, man?
Well, it's a good place to be isolating for sure. So
Mm.
we're close to the beach, as you can see. Got a great setup here. So we're hunkered down. Good place for Zoko headquarters to be uh, trying to support everyone. And yeah, no, Sarasota is we're yeah. Sorry. So as you mentioned, we've got 8 puppies right now. We're
Oh yeah, I can't really hear them. I hear the birds. They sound great. They're very pleasant, John. Very
yes,
pleasant.
yes. So we're surrounded by nature. So that's we're enjoying. This is how we're gonna heal ourselves, right? I mean,
Oh man, it just looks and sounds incredible. I'm also in a self-isolating format. As you can see, I've really been grooming myself so well with this
I
little
shaved
hair
for you today.
thing. Oh yeah. That's right. That's great. What do you mean? I think I shaved some time ago.
My
I got
Sunday best. This is
I
it.
got my
Yeah,
Saturday sweatshirt on, even though it's Monday right now.
there you go.
You know,
That's how we met. Was that baby
yeah,
bathwater?
baby bathwater on a Saturday or a day that felt like it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So John, the reason, I have you on The Real Dirt is, John, you're one of the founders or the founder of Zoko, which is a CBD and energy supplement company. And John, you've started several other businesses in the past, and this is a new venture for you. And it's so many people are thinking about getting involved in a CBD or a cannabis business, or already have some sort of CBD or cannabis business, and you took a slightly different approach to starting your business than maybe many other people. um and we spoke about it all and how you kind of got involved with it, but it's the brand. You wanted to develop this brand, because in previous businesses you didn't necessarily own what you were doing. It was someone else's brand. So yeah, I'm glad we can chat with you about it today. Hey man, how did you kind of come up with this idea of to start a CBD supplement,
Yeah.
CBD energy supplement?
Well, so like you said, going back, I came out of the action sports world. So I was in motorcycles. I was with Harley-Davidson and then KTM sport motorcycles. And KTM has a relationship back at between the founders in Austria with Red Bull. And so back in the late 1990s and early 2000s, when Red Bull was just coming into the market, we were doing crazy partnerships with them, with like all that extreme sports and, skydiving and motorcycle races. And so I was kind of in that group and saw Red Bull created the category, right? Before that, there were no energy drinks. And so then all of a sudden, and I was also kind of in that extreme world of, riding motorcycles and jumping out of airplanes. And, so we wanted to,
Party John. Yeah, man.
Back in the day. Now I'm just the old guy with all the puppies and kids and grandkids. But it was, so that I saw what all that energy and what energy drinks and that how much people would pay for that energy, and then also seeing the brand.
So you really you learned from some of the major brands in a completely kind of different arena, though. It's not healthcare, or it's a much more consumer oriented product than a healthcare product. I don't know if I'm talking to my ass there.
No, for sure. So I coming straight out of university, actually, even my thesis, I did it on Harley-Davidson. So I had a motorcycle. I bought a Harley when I was in college. I ran a business back then, a bartending agency.
So you were a fan.
And I talked them into sponsoring my thesis. And so that was what I loved to do. And so, but then about 13, 14 years ago, I met my wife, as women will do. They change you. And she's from Brazil, but she's also a vegetarian and very much into sustainability. And so and then also I started my family. And so it was this shift in my life. I swore when I met my wife that I would never give up eating meat. And that took about a year to become a vegetarian, because she's a really good cook. But more and more, I've become healthier with my life, and the benefits, I feel great. And so with the energy drinks that we were doing all the time in the motorcycle world, it wasn't hard to figure out that those are really bad for you with all the chemicals and sugar, but we didn't care much. But then then I was into coffee, and that's how I, kind of raised my kid, was just drinking coffee all day to keep up with he's 12 years old now, but I was always looking for this natural energy.
Totally.
And something I could feel good, because otherwise you feel like you're always like stealing from the future, your future longevity for your energy today, right? So
you are already looking at an energy type of supplement, or you've been thinking about it for years, and the CBD it was the light bulb moment.
Yeah, for the CBD for me was, I've been into hemp and cannabis for years, but I had this chronic pain in my shoulders that came like out of nowhere. And it hurt a lot just to raise higher than shoulder height. And we went through the traditional, medical tests, MRIs and x-rays and cortisone shots, which you can't do multiple times, but none of it helped. And then finally the doctor's like, I don't understand it, can't figure it out. And, you just have to live with it. Maybe cut back on this or whatever.
But you didn't cut back on the weed.
No, I didn't cut back. But just smoking the weed didn't really
do it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's the thing, is CBD is anti-inflammatory, and that's and
that was the medicine. That was the medicine. And so a friend recommended it, and it was I think it's called AC/DC. And within a day, it cut the pain in half. And by the end of the week, like, it was down to 10% of what it was before. So that was powerful for me personally. So then
that made you the believer.
Exactly. And knowing, as the market became more legal, at least enough that I wanted to look into it. And so then I sought out, how could I find like the experts and the best, and then I found you. So, um, but you know, so that was like the next step of my journey.
Here's how John found us. Is we were in the corner smoking weed in a circle, and so there was this large smoke cloud coming up between us, and John recognized the smoke signal and
It was
said,
a
"Hey
little
man,
familiar. Yeah.
what are you guys doing?"
That's exactly how it happened. And I think we played that out a few different times.
Hmm.
And then, but then we were also, you know, at that event, there were a number of, you know, really knowledgeable and experts in the new market in hemp and CBD and cannabis. And I remember some really good advice that you gave. And some of it was, I was like, okay, well, California is opening up. I would love to have my own,
Because
you know,
you
farm.
thought you wanted to grow it
I thought I
initially.
wanted to, yeah, do a farm. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so you started calling me Farmer John, I think was, and
I
somehow
called
that
you
just,
Farmer John. Oh, I said, oh, John over there, he wants to be a farmer. Farmer John.
and somehow I just didn't, you know, I couldn't see like, you know, I haven't grown up in the field, right? I don't have that kind of expertise. So something there.
City boy.
And I remember you also saying that, hey, look it, there's an opportunity now, but as soon as the big companies come in, it's going to get, you know, the prices will just get gutted like,
Mm-hmm.
you
It'll
know,
be
like
so hard.
soy and everything else, right? So
Totally.
that made a lot of sense. And then you said that, you know, the real place is to focus on CBD, which is legal, and, you know, across the country, and to create a brand, you know, so, I mean, you know, I think 2 years later here, maybe from that discussion, but it was,
From
you know, I
from the
appreciate the advice.
inception.
It was great advice. And so I would,
Well, hey man, this is perfect time for us to stop for a break here. We'll come back and we're going to talk about like your next step. You had the idea, and how did you want to do it differently than you had
yeah,
before?
great.
All right, here's the real dirt. We'll be back in a moment. Hey, this is Chip. I hope you're enjoying this episode of The Real Dirt. I just wanted to have a little public service announcement out there in these trying times. I just want to encourage everyone to have just a little bit more tolerance with the people around them, with their family, with their friends, and the people they interact in the world. You know, it's gotten to be an incredibly small world lately, and we all realize that we're in it together. So the next time that you feel a little stressed or you see somebody else stressed, just take a second, relax, and if you can, roll up the largest joint that you can, and enjoy another episode of The Real Dirt. Thanks again. We'll get back into it right now. All right, and we're back with John Zolikoff. We're talking about how John has started a CBD energy supplement company. You know, so John, you had this idea, and you know, kind of take me to the steps of like what kind of happened. You know, what was the next thing that happened? You had the idea, and you decided you wanted to make some CBD products.
Yeah. So for sure CBD. I partnered early on with, obviously we were starting with CBD and we searched out the best sources for that, being able to go all the way back and trace the genetics and make sure that we were getting full spectrum. So we got all the cannabinoids, and so that was the foundation. But then also for me, it was important. I wanted to create supplements that people could really feel, like from the beginning. And so the idea from the beginning was also to come up with engineered or formulated products with intentional benefits. So energy was the obvious one and the starting point. We searched out a group that is like the best in formulating performance supplements. And so it was a little bit, I think, different approach than most people. So really, so product development was key. We wanted to include energy ingredients, but also adaptogens, which even now is even more, I think, timely with adaptogens are great at boosting your immunity and fighting stress and fatigue. So that was important. So coming up with the right formula was key. Then sourcing the CBD, full spectrum CBD. Then finding even the manufacturer. Our formula is very unique. It's actually a like a liquid. So it's like you can maybe see here. It's got oil in there. So it's MCT oil plus the CBD, but then it's got 7 other ingredients. So there's caffeine, dynamine, which is a kucha tea leaf extract, and gives a nice even energy that just kind of tapers off at the end versus kind of that nervous energy with a crash that a lot you'll get from energy drinks or coffee.
Hold on, let me get some coffee.
Yeah. Well, you got Zoko on the way. I know you guys like it, but yeah, exactly. So instead of that big, rush and kind of, jittery effect, this is a nice even, the combination of the caffeine and the dynamine and the hemp just really works nicely. And then, so we've got lots of B vitamins and rhodiola, which like the Russian astronauts or cosmonauts and athletes have been using forever. 2 ginsengs, spirulina, MCT oil, and it's a vegetarian capsule. So, there are certain things that were really important for me. I wanted this to be something that I was going to take. I mean, I basically, since I got my first samples almost a year and a half ago, I've more or less given up coffee. I like the taste, but this is just so much easier. And I know that I'm getting all these other, health ingredients on top of it. But for example, vegetarian capsules were important to me, being a vegetarian. So that was a big thing. I designed it for what I was looking for, making sure a lot of people talk about their CBD, that it makes them tired or drowsy and they can't take it during the day. With this,
yours doesn't. Right.
You can get your 25 milligrams of CBD in each capsule, and you can go to work and be focused. And the dynamine.
I usually take 2.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And that's why each one has 100 milligrams of caffeine and all these other ingredients, but it's the right amount that you can stack it. So that's the official recommendation is not to exceed 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day. So we say don't take more than 4. But the dynamine is really a neat ingredient. It's new on the market, and they promote it. They say EMF. I think it's EMMF. So energy, mood, motivation, and focus, which right now, like especially, we're all working at home. So how do you, keep your head straight while you got kids and puppies, running around, and, or if you're trying to focus and create your new thing, right? It's great for that. So,
right.
So that's on the product side. And we're really happy. I mean, you've had it. People really.
So you wanted to formulate the product, right? You didn't want to do a white label product. You wanted something specific for you. You wanted to stand out. So you got a formulator. You had the idea, right? You wanted something different.
Yeah.
And how did you approach the brand side? How did you develop? Because many people don't even know what a brand is. I guess that's all up for debate. It's more than just a logo.
Yeah.
But
right.
How did you approach the next phase? Yeah.
So this is what we ended up with, which is so Zoko Energy, CBD plus energy. So I have launched, as you mentioned. I've started a lot of different companies, and I've done kind of the branding always just on my own, right? And then just kind of had, kind of didn't take a disciplined approach to it, and go through a process. And so knowing that the market was going to be so competitive, knowing that, looking at the market and really, not to offend anyone, but if you look at the CBD market, there's just like, it all looks
charlatans and homespun bullshit, and people just want to get rich quick. I'll say it.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Totally.
But no one really looking at it from like a consumer products perspective, right? Like how to really connect with people, and how to, like, it's CBD this, CBD that, hemp it's just like, and even our first idea was like Blue River hemp, right? That would have been, if
Yeah, I
I didn't go
remember.
through the
I
process, that
remember.
would have been the first, that would have been it. And then we would have just been competing with every other hemp
Yeah.
company to try and be the most trusted or the most whatever. So we worked with Branding for the People, a great group that, so we invested first before everything in the brand. And that process that we went through forced us to identify our customers. So we came up with 3 or 4 avatars, but all around kind of active, outdoor, adventure type people. And then, you relate to them a little bit differently. Like I'm Gen X, I'm 49, right? So I kind of grew up in all this action, extreme sports stuff, but now, like, I mean,
Now you're beat up.
I'm beat up and I need,
Yeah.
yeah,
My
lubrication.
elbow, my arm, my shoulders, like
Exactly. But this
my
now
knee.
gives me energy, and it gives my body like the lubrication to go out and charge and do things that I
Hmm.
used to, or not at the same level. But so focusing on who was our target demographic. And for me, it was just kind of like, look, I'm just going to kind of do almost like the Red Bull
Model.
CBD and healthy energy, right? Like,
Hmm.
and what's great is like, so you get a bottle of this, that's 30 servings, right? That's like 30 energy drinks in your pocket, or 30 double shot, Starbucks double shots like that.
That's a month's supply.
Exactly. And so for me, like, I would always go to like these trade shows, or even when I traveled, I'd go buy those little Starbucks double shot 4-packs. Have you
Yeah,
seen those?
totally. Oh yeah.
I would put those in my, everywhere I went, I put those in my luggage, because that was my best way to just get my caffeine and my energy to go. And now I have this solution.
No,
So,
yeah.
but
So you mentioned avatars earlier. You had a couple of different avatars.
yeah.
Let's explain to people what that means.
So that's where you sit down and you describe the psychographics and the personality, the activities, how people,
Of your
what they
customer,
do of
your
this customer.
perceived customer, even.
Yeah. Yep. The media they consume, the places they go, just how, so that you can speak specifically to them. What we're finding is the formula. I mean, there's so many people that want natural, convenient energy. And so
Hmm.
our avatar was actually kind of this young, like originally like 18 to 30-year-old,
You just made one avatar.
the first one was that one
Okay.
avatar. So
Hmm.
it was a younger one than what we're
Hmm.
finding it to be. But and we called him Travis, like Travis Pastrana, right? If you know, in the action sports, he's like the original, extreme sports guy. And so as a group, we built out there's a whole page that describes everything about Travis.
Who Travis is, what he looks like, what he drives, what he eats, what he does.
Yep. We now have like 4 different avatars. So there's Travis, and you come up with names so that people can relate to it a little bit better. But so now there's 4. So that was the avatar part. Then you also wanted to come up with the archetypes.
So
So
this
those are
is
like the personality of the company. Like, are you like a National Geographic? Are you like the most trusted? Are you like IBM? And so there's this whole, through the process, they give examples of the personalities of other types of companies,
Mhm.
and you decide what you want so for me, what was really amazing for this was like, we spent a lot of money invested, but it was so refreshing to be able to just like dream up who I really wanted my customer to be, right? I mean, like this.
So the importance is like, if you know what your customer is and what they look like, your potential customer, what they look like, and then you start to imagine what they're going to be attracted to, the colors that they're going to buy, the colors that they're
The
using, the
language,
language, the copy, the content, the sales letters, all of that comes from this avatar,
all
right?
that.
Is
Yep.
how do you speak to Travis?
Yep.
Right. How do you lure Travis to come over to the Zoko aisle and buy
Exactly.
Zoko?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you start to build off of that. And so and so the archetypes I mentioned, so ours is kind of fun loving, and there's like a jester, adventure adjuster. There's 2, but so that's part of the process. But then also we had to come up with a name, right? So like Blue River Hemp, and then there was someone had, you know, I mentioned earlier that like the CBD, as you get older, it kind of lubricates, it helps with all your joints and everything just feels better. So one idea was, you know, Life Lube, which sounded a little bit too lubey. So, but there was this whole process of trying to name storm and then come up with
That's for a different avatar.
that is a different avatar. Yeah. So Life Lube didn't make it, but we, so Zoko, it's funny. I have been called Zoko. My last name is Zolikoff, so not exactly Zoko, but I, for 20 years, have been using ZOCO, which is kind of short for Zolikoff Company, for different projects and consulting. And so my good friend and my son's godfather, who was the director of motorsports for Red Bull, and he's an investor in Zoko, I was sending him I think an invoice for something that had that Zoko name on it, as he was involved in this name storming process, or this naming process. And he goes, hey man. And for me, it's kind of like, it seemed a bit egotistical, you know, like I'm not to put my name on things kind of but I love the name. I just love the sound of it. And I think
that was a great name.
And so he encouraged that. And so then we had to figure out, so ZOCO, but then you have to get the domain name, right? So there's this whole process. And so it shifted to the ZOHKO.
And that's the other thing about making up the spelling of it, is you got the .com, and we can see that in tons of stuff these days. It's hard to get the .com. So if you spell your own word,
right? Like, I mean, ZOCCO was like
for sale. Yeah, of course.
But we got ZOHKO.
I bought the real dirt. I bought the real dirt.
Yeah. You are the real dirt.
Yeah, totally.
So that was kind of how the Zoko.
I just found out that some of my haters call me the real dirt bag, but I believe it's just because, you know, that dude's a jackass, and like, I don't know, you know, you can't please everybody.
And he's probably more
you know who you are.
He's probably more into teabagging anyway. So
definitely, he's definitely a teabagger. Which, hey man, if you're into teabagging, I'm not gonna down you for that. That's your own sport, whatever you want to do.
That's also a different avatar.
Right, it's a different avatar. Right, I'm not gonna judge you over your teabagging, but like, you just can't be an asshole about it when you do it. Right.
Yeah,
totally inappropriate, John. Let's get back to branding. So, you know, the thing I love about the avatar is now you get to take that avatar to every person that you do business with. So your website guy, your label guy, your packaging guy, you get to go and take him Travis avatar and be like, hey, this is our customer.
So it's even more than that. So the avatar definition was part of building the brand platform, and that's the whole process. So not only, so we created the avatar. So we were working through a whole process over the course of about 6 weeks, and it was laid out step by step, and the avatar was part of it, and the name storming. And then like one of the main guys, design guys, he just came up, so they came up with a storyboard after, you know, was another step of the process where, you know, they came up with images that would help us like zero in on the logo and things like that. Out of nowhere, the dude came up with a techno zebra. So there's this really cool storyboard that's got this zebra with like headphones on and sunglasses, and somehow that evolved into what we have. But it's interesting. So Zolikoff's my last name. I mean, I always, when I spell my name, it's Z as in zebra, right? Because B and B and all these other. So like, it's just
I might spell it with an X occasionally, but
yeah. So this is, you know, it looks really nice on swag. I mean, it's a nice. It stands out. It doesn't say hemp, right? It doesn't say CBD. It's something that people can really relate to. We have a lot that we can do. You know, they were very.
You're not pigeoned into like one product. You can do whatever you want and add CBD to it instead of just being pigeonholed into a CBD company.
Exactly. Right. CBD is an ingredient, right?
CBD is an ingredient.
It's not a whole product, or a whole experience. And so Yeah, so that and then the group took, you know, as we worked through the process, you know, the first thing was to get our labeling because we needed to, you know, we had product, you know, we had about a dozen different things all, you know, on parallel timelines.
You know, as you know, you developed your brand story, you developed your avatar, you developed your labeling, your bottling, your packaging. Like, how long did it take in order for you to actually get sellable product? How many months did it take?
So we really launched Zoko on an island in Croatia in June of 2018. We had product, we had the energy capsules by the end of December. So we
Okay.
had
June,
so
6 months, six
yeah,
months. Okay.
and I would
That's
say
pretty
that's
good.
a pretty condensed. I mean, I was pushing
That's
time.
great. It's hard for me to get a product to the market and within 3 or 4 months like that. I'm struggling to get it in 3 or 4 months, but
And for me,
six
this
months
was all
got
new,
good amount
right?
of time.
Like
Oh,
so
wow.
I have an engineering, like a general engineering degree. So I'm used to doing projects and business development and development, but you know, just the labeling, right? Every
See,
step it was like you had to learn a whole new
and
set of.
something else, right?
But you do that all the time, you know.
Oh man, you know, I mean, once you go through a couple products, it's not the same, but it's definitely something you have to think about. And food and supplements, those are absolutely different from fertilizers. But yeah, it's just, you know, huge, just rules you have to follow when you put the packaging together.
Yeah.
Um, so man, you
So then
know,
we had to find with them, you know, we set up warehousing, right? So you had to, you know, with CBD,
fulfillment, your
only some
fulfillment.
companies fulfillment. Yep,
Hmm.
exactly.
So you contracted out your manufacturing. You have your formula. You've got your package. You contract out the manufacturing. They put it in your package, and then they send it someplace else to fulfill it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we have a warehouse, a third-party warehouse that we work with, Ship Offers. They're a great partner in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Sure.
and so but not everyone's. It's becoming more easier and open, more free now. But not everyone wants to, you know, deal with CBD, right? So, that was
Hard. Yeah,
part of the
man.
step, and then you got to figure so fulfillment, right, and then selling. Right, so
Mm-hmm.
then you know, a website is the most obvious, but then and I've set up a lot of websites and web shops and never even really thought us extra time about the processing. But processing and banking, I mean, as we know, is such a issue
And
with CBD and cannabis and hemp. Yeah, but the
so,
processing we've gone through 3 or 4 processors already, and
mm-hmm.
not for any good reason. Just they just like decide to shut down. Like when
Oh wow.
our first one came in, I think it was U.S. Bank decided they were gonna just go into CBD market after, and then after 4 or 5 months, and they were great. They're super low price and funded in a day. But then, yeah, they pulled out, and I heard that like it affected like 4,500 accounts or something crazy like that.
Wow.
And
Yeah, I won't
this
be
was like in
into it.
April last year, and like everyone
You
was
know.
out trying to find it at the same time. So I come more from like traditional sales and marketing, kind of brick and mortar, motorcycles, bicycles, you know.
So your sales channels mostly e-commerce, or do you distribute to retail locations?
Well, so we were doing some retail. Our retail strategy is similar to our demographic, right? Our avatar.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're going after outdoor retailers, independent retailers.
Okay.
So fishing, you know, hiking,
Bike shop,
cycling.
fish shop, gun shop,
Yep.
cycle shop,
All the
skateboard
places where
shop,
CBD companies are not right now.
sailboarding shop,
Exactly.
paragliding shop,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And so
surfboard shop.
yeah. And that's where the energy product's going to come in. We're
Mm-hmm.
actually a 30 count bottle is a big commitment. to make. So we're actually coming out with 3-packs and special packaging for that channel. And the response has been really, really good so far. So that's going to be rolling out. I don't want to get it too much into, I'd show you, I'm really happy with the packaging. I'll show you next time. You're going to love them.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the retail is like this, outdoor, so we got e-commerce, we've got outdoor retailers. And then the third that we want to get with these 3-packs, we think that there really is a mass market for healthy, convenient energy. And so that's where
the 7-Eleven market,
the convenience store is going head to head with 5-hour energy.
You're right. Yeah, I think so too, man.
So.
John, along the way you wanted to quit, I'm sure. Along the way you were like, okay, I really want to do this. Man, what kept you going? What kept you going to bring this product to fulfillment?
The response from the customers is fantastic. So, well, I love the product. Everyone around me loves the product. It's something, in the past, my most recent business before was children's bikes, which was a lot of fun, and it really changed a lot of little kids' lives. And that was, so this evolution from kind of like burning petrol, gas for recreation to this more sustainable and healthy to where, I really want to help people. And CBD, so we have an expanding line. We're going to have a balm, a topical coming out as well. We have plans for more functional blends after the energy, but I think energy really is our flagship. It's where we're hanging our hat. But I think this whole, that people can make more memories, they can do more with their kids, they can do, they can get their relief and their CBD and still have energy to get through the day. So that gets me. I'm organic, vegetarian. I want to be natural in how I treat things. And I just think this is what the world needs more of. And so adaptogens and the CBD whole.
So you just had a heart for it, man. You did you ever have a down moment? Did you ever have a moment where you didn't think you were going to do this?
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah, for sure. So the last year has been frustrating because it's been learning e-commerce and trying to learn it and build it and fly it and repair, all that at the same time. And we are lean, we have a lot of people helping on the project, but I don't have, I'm working, from a home office. So, there are a lot of times that you can, so I guess just believing. And, as anyone that brings a product, I mean, you have to have the belief like it's already exists, right? I mean, you just have to know that it's the right thing and just keep going.
I mean, that's awesome advice for any business owner. Thank you, man. Hey, John, how do people get in touch with you? How do people order the product? Are you on Facebook, Instagram?
Yes. Yep. So Zolikoff.com, ZOHKO.com. And we are on Instagram and Facebook, Zokaholics, ZOK. Just search on Zoko, you'll find it.
Okay.
So and the idea was just to help people live their lives more fully and give them energy to be able to get out and enjoy. And now I think it's what our bodies need to help. The CBD helps your body.
It's what the body craves.
Exactly. I mean, it gives it what it's need to fight whatever's out there. It is what it craves. So, yeah.
Awesome, John. Well, hey, thanks for joining me today, man. I really enjoyed hearing the birds and talking to you about branding and developing a new product line and a new company.
Yeah, thank you. We're happy to support you guys. So anytime you need energy, anytime the dogs over there need some. And we'll keep you updated as we get out there. But appreciate the time. Always great seeing you. I miss your smiling face.
No, man. Well, here it is.
It's beautiful.
Mhm. Cool, bro. Thanks again. Hey, this has been another great episode of The Real Dirt. If you enjoyed this episode, please download others at The Real Dirt Podcast on iTunes. You can also download them on the realdirt.com. That's right. That's our own website. We have a blog, links to our Facebook page, The Real Dirt Podcast, as well as our Instagram page, The Real Dirt Podcast. Please participate. Please tell us how you like this episode. Please tell us about the episodes that you're interested in. And once again, thank you for lending me your time. It's The Real Dirt. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode, man. You know, John's internet reception broke up a little bit. He's down in Florida, but I really loved hearing the birds chirping in the background, and then there at the end, the dogs. You know, so much about the podcast for me is an audio escape. When I listen to it and when I make these things, that it is a little bit of escape for me. You know, in these times, we all need a little bit of escape, and whether it's rolling up a large hemp joint or a large ganja joint or a small bong hit or listening to The Real Dirt. Like, man, right now is about a great time to do it. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to The Real Dirt Podcast on iTunes. That way you can catch up to all of our latest released episodes and you can hear the 70 episodes behind. Also join us on Facebook and Instagram, The Real Dirt Podcast. And yeah, man, look for all the special offers and whatnot we got coming in the future. As always, I really appreciated your time. I know you've got lots more stuff you could do today, but instead you chose to at least spend a little bit of time with me. So thanks again. You've been listening to The Real Dirt with Jib Baker.